Peace, love, and prosperity to all of humanity on planet Earth. I am Abdul Smith Bey for AMPAG, Wazir Reyes. Today is Sunday. We don't usually have discussions or classes on Sunday, though we did have those discussions on Sundays. But we've stopped it for the past few Sundays. I'm not sure how many Sundays that's been. So today, this Wednesday, Brother Akil hit me up asking me did I have a class today? I said, no. Should I have it? He said, yes. And here we are. Now we're having a class. And so what we'll be going over, or a discussion, not really a class. What we'll be going over is something new, y'all. Something important. It's called the Convention in the Empire of Morocco, the Wazir Regional Council. This is a multilateral agreement that was drafted up by the Wazir Regional Council. It is a multilateral convention. It has very similar language to the Charter of the United Nations. And the purpose of this convention, well, we'll go over it. We'll read through the preamble. It was done on the 30th of January, 2023. It's still pending ratification in depository. But first, we're still in the process of reviewing it. It's been passed out to the four wazirs of the four recognized states, that being AMPAG, which is DeAndre Dre Bey, New Mecca, Amir Hassan Il, AMPAG, that would be yours truly, and Meru State Republic, which would be Akil Bey. We all are reviewing this particular draft to then ratify and deposit it and enact it as our how should I say, new convention here in Morocco. What is the similarities, though? Or what are the similarities? Okay, so the European states, they have something called the EU, European Union. Then you've got NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Then you've got the BRICS. You got the G2. You got all these different regional agencies. This is what it is. It's called a regional agency. Well, this is our regional agency. This is our Moorish Union, right? You got the European Union. Well, we got our Moorish Union. See, everything got to be like for like. We got to mirror image them because we're playing chess. And both sides of the table, both sides of the board have got to start off the game with equal pieces. So if they got a queen, we got a queen. They got a king, we've got a queen. They got two bishops, we got two bishops. They got two knights, we've got two knights, etc. Right? That makes it equal, and now we can play the game. We haven't been playing chess against these people for the past 200-300 years because we hadn't even been on the board. We didn't have no pieces on the board. Right? So all states coming together is representative of our pieces, and as well as certain documents and treaties, which is exactly what this is. It can put you in the mindset of the Avengers, right? And we are the villain, so-called villain. The good guy is always the bad guy in these so-called hero movies. Who was the villain in the final chapter of the Avengers? I know y'all know. I'm hearing crickets. I know y'all know who was the
Thanos. You talking about Thanos?
Thanos. Didn't Thanos look Moorish, Asiatic? What was he doing? Wasn't he collecting 12 jewels? Excuse me, for the Infinity Gauntlet. And then when he collected all those 12 jewels, by the snap of a finger, he got rid of everybody's powers. Did he not do that? Yay or nay?
Wow. I believe it was like 5 or 6 stones he was collecting. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'm confusing it with something. In the movie, it's 6 stones. But in real life, there is a Infinity Gauntlet in real life. Let me see if I can pull it up. It was the hand of King James. So he collected 6 jewels, but in reality, it was 12, which represented supposedly, so-called represents the 12 tribes, right, of Israel. Watch what I'm gonna type in. You'll find this too. Nuns kissing King James' hand. So he collected those jewels. Okay, I put too much. Nuns kissing. Let's see, Infinity Gauntlet. I hope it comes up. I don't want to take too much time looking this up. Again, like I told you all, I wasn't prepared. Infinity. How you spell gauntlet? Gauntlet.
I think you got it right.
Yeah.
G-A-U, no, excuse me, G-A-U-N-T.
I got it. Look at the screen.
Okay. Got it.
This in the hand. You see it? You see Thanos' hand up here with the jewels in the hand, the Infinity Gauntlet. So the one that they're kissing, this is in real life. This was supposedly the hand of King James. This is a real thing, y'all. I got this little bar here I'm trying to get rid of. Let me see if I can get rid of it. Do it this way. Okay, good. It's gone. All right. So you'll see the hand. That's the Infinity Gauntlet. Those are the jewels that he was collecting. But it was like 6 per hand or something. But then there's also a shield that holds 12 of those jewels. But the point is that once he accumulated those jewels, by the snap of a finger, he was able to get rid of all the Avengers. That's how much power Thanos had. So now let's view that as, instead of jewels, collecting our several states. Once we collect our several states and enact the constitution for the central government of the Empire of Morocco by the snap of a finger, which would be by the stroke of a pen, overnight, all this crap gets deaded. All this decolonization crap, you know what I'm saying? All the cares of the world, all the pain points that we've been experiencing as a people goes away overnight by establishing our states, much like Thanos did by collecting the jewels for the Infinity Gauntlet. I just wanted to make that point clear real quick. All right, so let me go back to this convention. These are all these different documents I have here. Okay, so here's the convention, right? Something that has never been seen before for the last 200-300 years in Morocco amongst Moors, definitely not in the last 100 years since the Prophet passed away. The Prophet would be proud of us and what we're doing, because he told us to leave. He told us that he would leave the Europeans here long enough to teach us how to run government. Well, they're doing all this stuff. Why aren't we doing this? See, we got to follow the principles of what the Europeans are doing. But why? That's the question. Can somebody please tell me? I know the answer is on the floor. Why should we mirror image and follow what the Europeans are doing as it relates to international law and statehood? Can someone please answer that for me?
Islam, but I'm gonna take a stab at that. I think because everything that they done came from us anyway.
Wazir of AMPAG, more Bay. That's why. That's right. Right on the target. We're just relearning our stuff. They stole all the stuff from us. If you want to relearn our principles, then just them, right? Brother Kill, you got anything to say? Brother Kill is on here working with me, the Wazir from Maru State Republic. You got anything to speak on that you want to speak on? Speak on it, good brother.
That last point that you just made, about us mirroring what they have established already. You know, we can take that point and view, just take the statements that we grew up on, as far as noble dry leaf oil statements. If you were a previous Christian, you know, we see and hear statements like created in God's image, And then, you know, Noble Drew Ali said, there's no will to reinvent. You know,
Mm-hmm.
basically everything is laid out, and who we, the de facto sovereign state, right? The United States, acting as this quote unquote God image, when really they're the custodians. You know, it basically lays out that everything is laid out for us, um, in the image that we need to present ourselves, and our documentation, everything. So, and Jay Bay, he raised a good point in the meeting the other day by simply stating that, you know, the United States, etc., are just like robots. I believe that was him that said that, or Kanye.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so, just, you know, the slightest bit of attention in a in a in the sense that it's directed to confusion for them. You know, they may see a number not in the same spot that they're used to, et
Right.
cetera, et cetera. This will cause some type of confusion for them. Maybe
Right.
not for us, but for them,
Right.
in which that this will cause tension.
Mm-hmm.
And so we want to avoid and keep everything simple. So yeah, I did want to say that because that was a good point that you brought up.
Islam's a brother.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is. We were talking about the our license plates. Should we have GOV versus GB? And the point was made that GOV is what they recognize, so we should go with GOV. And the good brother Kanye Shobe, the Mufti, Consul General for AMPAG, gave an example about him being pulled over after he ran a stop sign or something. Two cops pulled him over. One cop was asking him for his license. He was demanding a license, even though he was presenting a state ID. The other cop was circling around the vehicle, and he looked at the tags and said, "Hey," he spoke to his partner, his other policy enforcer partner. "Hey man, these tags look exactly like ours. We probably should leave them alone." And he handed him back all his documents and let him go. So you got to mirror image him. If he would have had GV on there or anything other than GOV, something foreign to them, they would have asked more questions and been more. Yes, they would have had to let him go, but it would have been after all this harassment to then finally come to the realization that, oh, we can't even be messing with them. The tags did it for him just based on the fact that it was mirror imaging what they already do, which is what we had already done in the past. So we're just basically taking back the knowledge. Okay, so let me get back onto the convention. So the preamble, we'll go over the preamble real quick. We, the competent Moors of the Empire of Morocco, do hereby establish, as a matter of fact, can I get a matriarch to read that for me? Where's that matriarch? Y'all can sit back and relax and just listen to me speak, I guess. It's all good. So it goes, we, the competent Moors of the Empire of Morocco, do hereby establish a Moro convention by the member states parties to the convention, and have combined our efforts to reign in the order of unity and accountability throughout the Moorish Empire. Bearing in mind that the Wazir Regional Council has its member states, and its recognized member states shall be guided by the norms of treaties and international law, with a view to preserving the purpose and principles concerning the sovereign equality of modern Moroccan states and the maintenance of international peace and security. Oh, went too far. Ooh, I went too far. Okay. Believing that regional council reforms on friendly diplomatic intercourse, privileges, and immunities shall contribute to the development of consular relations between all Moorish states and between foreign dependent states of the United States of America. See, state of Georgia, state of Indiana, state of Colorado, these are foreign dependent states. They're not states, organic states, uppercase S states under international law. They are foreign dependent states. What are they dependent upon? The protections of Morocco, which means that our states that have reclaimed those territories have become the sovereign authority of that territory, and they will become dependent states to our sovereign states. Understood what I said?
Islam.
Islam. So it says between foreign independent states of the United States of America and Morocco, irrespective of their differing constitutional and social systems, realizing that the purpose of such diplomatic intercourse, privileges, and immunities is not to benefit individuals, but to ensure the efficient performance of the functions of diplomatic relations and consular relations by respecting the principles of Moroccan law as binding on native Moroccans and privileged Americans. The parties must be known. We are identifying them as they actually are. They are privileged Americans, privileged to be here under our protections and also to partake in commerce in Morocco for what they have in their constitution. What do they have in their constitution? A life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness and property. This was affirmed by Roosevelt on his public proclamation following the Act of Algeciras Conference, acknowledging that the Constitution for the United States of Morocco has yet to be concluded and enacted for the purpose of establishing a central government to represent the Moroccan Empire. Therefore, the WRC Council and the WRC Office of the Secretariat shall assist the member states until the Constitution of the United States of Morocco is convened into session, affirming that the Council shall act in the best interest of human rights and adopt resolutions that promote the member states to accept or accede to the Council resolutions regarding administrative, legislative draft articles, judicial, economic, social, cultural, and military reforms, while the member states are at varying stages of advancement, emphasizing that the combined efforts of states to any dispute can be expressed through a joint declaration of intervention as erga omnes parties to help unite our efforts for the common defense of our independent states. Okay, so let me clarify what that means for you all if you don't understand it. If Meru has a dispute with New Mecca, AMPAG, AMPAM, DIMTY can become erga omnes parties on behalf of Meru to go against AMPAG, or vice versa. Obviously, it would depend on the charges, what's going on, and who stands with who. So that's a way to settle disputes amongst our states in-house without bringing it to the international community, where we would be basically airing out our dirty laundry, if you will, right? But if the WRC or the convention doesn't prevail, then obviously the last stop would be the ICJ. Now, keep also in mind, it's not the principles described here, the Declaration of Intervention, as well as the erga omnes parties principle, is not limited to just that. Those same Moroccan states within the convention can become erga omnes parties on behalf of AMPAC, while AMPAC take the United States to the International Court of Justice as a class action lawsuit because it's several states claiming the same injury as AMPAC through a declaration of intervention. We spoke about that. In fact, he talked about it on video 88. It was done via Zoom because of the YouTube issues that I don't even want to touch on that. But we know that the channel has been taken down for now. They're working behind the scenes to get it back up and running with all the evidence and proof to show and prove that there is no copyright infringement. It is indeed Jay Bay on the videos, which makes it a false claim. That's another story. Silly rabbit. Anyway, convinced that the heads of states shall embody the sacred trust of duty, honor, and accountability to protect the United States of Morocco alliance and its borders, people, and property, and foster friendly relations between Moroccans and Americans, reaffirming that treaties, international law, peremptory norms, just cogents, and the principles of uti possidetis juris, inter alia, shall continue to govern questions not expressly regulated by the provisions of the present multilateral convention. Solemnly, the respective Wazir rays of their recognized Moorish governments have assembled in the state of Alodia Moorish Paradia, Monte, Colorado, have exhibited their full powers found to be in good and due form, and have agreed to the present multilateral convention in the Empire of Morocco, and do hereby establish a United States of Morocco alliance to be known as the Wazir Regional Council. That's the end of the preamble. Any questions regarding the preamble or comments or concerns? I yield.
I like it.
Islam, I like it too. And we got started. There's so much. This all. I'm not going to go through the entire thing, but definitely the preamble, because the preamble tells you what it's all about, purposes and etc. The context and the concept of what is being discussed in the convention. But there's actually 111 articles, so it's a pretty lengthy convention. Chapter 1 deals with the purposes and principles of the convention. Article 1, for the purpose of the present convention, the following terms shall have the meanings hereunder assigned to them. So A, Wazir Reis, Wazir, WRC, or the council shall have the same meaning. B, member state means any recognized state or party to the convention. C, secretariat means that the administrative office of the secretariat and its organs. By the way, the secretariat for the WRC would be Nova Il from AMPAG. Just so you know. So she is who you'll deposit when you ratify let me rephrase that. When you accede to this convention, the depository would be the secretariat, which would be Nova. And then we would also deposit this exact document, this convention will be deposited also with the United Nations. So they will be aware of this. Imagine that. The 193 nation states will be made aware of our regional agency. And they're going to be like, this is not a drill. They're coming. Oh, yes, we're coming. D, Regional Supreme Court means the compulsory regional court to settle disputes between parties to the present convention. So we have a Supreme Court. E, Security Council of Defense. So we have a Security Council of Defense. It means the combined police and military forces. Where are we going to get this police and military forces from? Where do you think we're going to get the military and police forces from? Can anyone answer that? Even if you were to take a guess.
Islam.
We've already got.
What was that?
Yeah, it's already in place. Just have to retake control of it.
Islam. It's already in place. Somebody's getting it. All right. Where was I? F. Empire means the Moroccan Empire or Moorish Empire per the Act of Algeciras of 1906, Article 31. G. Regional means the combined successor states or the geographical coordinates commonly described as, but not limited to, 38 degrees north, 97 degrees west, inter alia. H. Moorish, Moroccan, Moor, or subject shall have the same meaning, wherefore any subject of Morocco that has been naturalized in a foreign country must choose to pledge their consent of allegiance to a Moroccan state and be recognized as a national by the government per the Madrid Convention of 1880, Article 15. That's H. Now, keep in mind, this is a draft article. So, we're going to it's still in review. And it's in review, meaning that all the Wazirs and the Sayarahas We'll be looking over the document to verify and make sure that you know we're all in agreements pretty much, right? And then upon that, we'll enact it. And the reason why I'm saying that is because personally, I see an issue with H as it relates to the word subject being identified as part of being Moorish, Moroccan, or more. We'll have to deliberate on that to identify and determine why that's there. But on the surface, I don't like it, and we'll probably be talking about removing that particular word. We'll see. But this is just a draft article anyway. All right, so that's H.
Islam, brother. Islam, brother. I can read some for you if you like.
Oh, that'd be great.
I have to get it on my screen. And where?
You will be at I, where it says, I got it all the way to the top of the screen. America.
Right. American means a foreign privileged dependent state in Morocco and subject to the principle of Moroccan laws and binding on the ministerial degrees of Moorish consular court pre the Treaty of Peace and Friendship of 1836, the Madrid Reventions of 1880, and the Act of Alexandria of 1906. Inter alia.
And inter alia, by the way, it's like et cetera, is like saying et cetera in international law.
Okay, inter alia. J. American means the naturalized person or members of a foreign and de facto United States intergovernmental organization in Morocco.
All right, stop right there. Hold on, stop right there. So you see, it's identifying America and American. So now, what's the identification for America? A foreign. See, we're letting it be known. You foreign. You ain't from around here. We know you ain't from around here. Privilege in Morocco, right? They're a dependent state in Morocco. Why? Because they're here for our protection. They're dependent upon us for protection, commerce, etc. They're also subject to the principles of Moroccan law as binding on the ministerial decrees of Moorish consular court per the Treaty of Peace and Friendship of 1836, the Madrid Convention, and the Act of Algeciras. And then it goes on to identify what an American is, which is why you can't be a Moorish American. Means a naturalized person or member of the foreign and de facto United States intergovernmental organization in Morocco. Islam? Okay, continue with the K.
K. The United States of Morocco means a formal treaty alliance between each interdependent Moorish state government to serve, protect, and defend the integrity of domain throughout the Empire of Morocco as a collective to the preamble of the Act of Algeciras, Article 105, and the Prevention of the Charter of the United Nations.
Islam.
L. Trust territory means and territory under the limit jurisdiction of the United States or under the trustee council of the present convention until a Moorish constitution has been ratified, deposited and promulgated. Deposit and promulgated in accordance with the international law and the prematoria norms of, you can help me.
Uti Posidatus Juris.
Say that again.
Uti.
Uti.
Oh, yeah. Uti Posidatus.
Uti Posidatus Juris.
There you go. So let me touch on that real quick. So what is a trust territory? It means any territory under the limited jurisdiction of the United States, i.e., state of Alabama, or under the trustee council of the present convention, until a Moorish constitution has been ratified, deposited, and promulgated in accordance with international law and the preemptory norms of Uti Posidatus Juris. So state of Alabama would be a trust territory until Moors in that territory enact a constitution that's been ratified, deposited, and promulgated in accordance with international law and Uti Posidatus Juris. Until then, it's a trust territory. All right. That's it for the definitions. So now we go on to the purpose of the Wazir Regional Council. Go ahead, sister. Number one.
Number one, to maintain international peace and security, and to that end, to take effect collective measures for the prevention and removal of threats to the peace, and for the suppression of acts of
Aggression.
or other breaches.
No, not acts of aggression.
Aggressions.
Yeah, there you go.
Acts of aggressions or other breaches of peace, and to bring about by peaceful means and a conformity with the principle of justice and international law, adjustment and settlement of region disputes, international disputes, or a situation which might lead to a breach of the peace throughout the Empire of Morocco.
Continue.
Number 2, to develop friendly relations among the modern Moroccan states based on respect for the principle of equal rights and self-determination of people, and to take other appropriate measures to strengthen regional peace.
Hold that thought. To develop friendly relations among the modern Moroccan states. So if there's any disputes amongst us, we gotta deal with these matters in a friendly manner, right? Based on respect for the principles of equal rights and self-determination of peoples. That goes back to uti possidetis juris. Each Moor of each territory, all Moors of each territory, I should say, have the right of self-determination to enact their own constitution and establish their own states. You have no right to encroach upon their sovereignty by taking over their territory for whatever reason you see fit. You have no right to do that. That's a violation of international law. It's a violation of uti possidetis juris. It's a violation of just cogens, which is human rights, and the self-determination of peoples to enact their own constitution. You can't get in the way of that. Leave that territory open. And if it's a concern for you to get those Moors going, then guess what you do? Do an outreach. Bring them into the knowledge and help them establish their state. You have no business establishing a state on their behalf because you claim you care about Moors. If you care about them, then teach them and help them establish and erect their own state within that territory. Islam, continue on number 3.
To achieve international cooperation in solving international problems of an economic, social, culture, and humanitarian charter, and in promoting encouraging respect for human rights and for fundamental freedom for all without distinction as a race, gender, sex, language, or religion. And number 4, to be a center of harmonizing the actions of the member state of the United States of Morocco alliance in attainment of these common ends.
Okay, so what does he mean by, what do we mean by to be a center for harmonizing the actions of the member states? Well, it's like chess. Harmonizing our pieces to move them in combination to checkmate the king, the other king. That's harmonizing. You got to be in harmony with one another. You have to be in sync with one another. You have to be on the same page as one another. You have to be in conformity with the rules of international law and statehood. We all got to be on that same page. And as we do so, the other aspect of our harmonization is to move these pieces in combination to checkmate the United States. What pieces? Our states. And it ain't just our states. This right here, this particular convention is a piece on the chessboard. All right, Islam, Article 2.
Article 2. The Wazir Regional Council and its member state, in pursuit of the purpose stated in Article 1, shall act according with the following principles. 1. The Wazir Regional Council is based on a triple principle of sovereign equality of all its member states. Number 2, all member states, in order to ensure to all of them the right and the benefit result from membership, shall fulfill a good faith and obligation assumed by them in accordance with the present conventions.
Exactly. So when you become a part of this convention, you have to. It's called Pacta Sunt Servanta in the law of treaties of 1969 of Vienna Convention. promises must be kept. And so if you're gonna take on the responsibilities and obligation of the treaty or this convention, it would be expected for you to fulfill those obligations. And the obligation is basically the rules and the procedures that we must follow based on what's been written in the convention. So it's incumbent upon all member states that may accede to this convention to read through the convention, understand the principles in it before you affix your signature or your ratification. All right, Islam, continue. Number 3.
Number 3, all Wazirs and their member states shall settle their regional and international dispute by peaceful means in such a manner that international peace, security, and justice are not endangered. Number 4, all Wazirs and their member states shall refrain in their international relations from the threats of use of force against their territory, integrity, and political independence of any Moroccan state, or in any other manner inconsistent with the purpose of the convention and in harmony with the principle of the United States nation charter members.
All the United Nations charter members. You say United States nations. I don't know if you heard yourself say that. Continue.
Oh, I didn't. United Nations charter members. Look, when I hear United, it seems like state were all behind it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know it's
Number
all good.
5, but that's the old paradigm.
Yeah, right.
Number 5, all member states shall give a council every assistance in any action to take in accordance with the present Wazir Regional Council, and shall refrain from giving assistance to any Moroccan state against which the council is taking preventive or enforcement actions.
So if we're
Number 6.
hold on a second, if we're dealing with a specific state because that state is, let's say, breaking the rules of the Wazir Regional Council, what this is saying is that you must recruit yourself and not try to butt in, if you will, for lack of a better term, and assist those states in this particular dispute, or should I say preventive or enforcement actions that's being taken against them. You got to stay out of it. Don't try to assist them. It's you have nothing to do with it. You have no right to involve yourself and think you're going to assist them, because if you do, then you're implicating yourself as well. Islam, continue.
Islam. Number 6, the Wazir Regional Council shall ensure that the Moroccan state, which are not a member of the convention, act in accordance with these principles so far as many be necessary for the maintaining of the regional and international peace and security. Number 7, nothing contained in this present convention shall not be prevent the authorization of the United Nations General Assembly of the UN Secretariat, its organs, or its staff, and intervene in matters which are essentially within the domestic jurisdiction of any Moroccan state. Wherefore, Section 7 of this Article 2 shall require the Wazirs and their member states to submit such matters and settlements under the present prevention. But this principle shall not prejudice the you say something, brother? Prejudice the application of the enforcement measure under chapter 6 and 7.
Continue.
Number 8, the council might establish an organization that is consistent with the term of this convention and refine further its purpose, scope, and objective, and to allocate duties as appropriate among the member states.
Chapter 2, membership.
Chapter 2, membership. Article 3, the original member of the convention shall be the Moroccan state which, having participated in the Wazir Regional Conference in the state of Alodium, Moorish, Freedom, Ante Catarata in Morocco, signed the present multilateral agreement multilateral agreement and ratify it in accordance with the Article 1 10.
Article 110. So now let's talk about the membership. Go ahead, Article 4.
Article 4, membership in the convention is open to all of the Moors and their peace-loving state, which accept the obligation contained in the present convention and in the judgment of the Wazir Regional Council that are able to willingly to carry out these obligations. Number 2, the admission of any such state to membership in the preventing convention will be affected by a
in the present convention.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the present convention will be affected by the decision of the Wazir Regional Council upon the recommendation of the Secretariat or cooperation with the Inspector General.
Hold that thought. So it says membership in the convention is open to all other Moors and their peace-loving states. So it's the Moors with their states. It's not for individuals, it's for states. But you have to be Moors, right? This is for Moroccans. They're peace-loving states which accept the obligations contained in the present convention. So you have to accept the obligations contained in the present convention. That's why you must read through it to verify that that's in line with your principles, which it should be because it's all based in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and international peace and security. Also upholding excellence, right? Excellence in all that we do, because that's the way we're going to beat the United States. So it's not a belligerent, a bunch of wazirs who are being belligerent, dictator, tyrannical Moors who's trying to dictate and tell the Moors what to do with their states. That's not what this is about. But we got to maintain a certain standard of excellence and checks and balances and rules and regulations and procedures to ensure that Moors fall in line with the peremptory norms of international law and statehood and the principles that the rules that govern statehood. Because anything outside of that, you're causing a problem as it relates to our class action lawsuit. We're leaving an opening for the United States to exploit. And as you know, we want to keep that to a minimum as we can potentially keep that minimum. Right? We're not going to be perfect. We don't know. We're not master jurists at this point. We're just coming back into statehood. So we're going to make mistakes. And we do have leeway as we go through our varying stages of advancement. That's why that language is in the charter under Article 73, Part B, where it talks about us going, the different states going through their various stages of advancement as it relates to their different circumstances within their territories. So it gives us room for mistakes, but it doesn't give us room for egregious mistakes, such as violating uti possidetis juris. That's an egregious mistake. Islam? All right, you can go on to Article 5.
Article 5. A member state of the convention may be suspended from the exercising of the right and privilege of member by the Wazir Regional Council upon the recommendation of the Office of Secretariat or the Inspector General with a subsequent 2/3 vote of the council. The exercising of these rights and privileges may be restored by the council.
So the council can take it away and the council can give it back upon the recommendation of the Secretariat or the Inspector General of the convention. And the Inspector General, just so you all know, all you member states, if you, I'm not sure how many positions you have filled, but if you have consul generals, the consul general is who can potentially be the Inspector General upon inauguration. So if you guys are interested in having your consul generals represent your state within the convention, now is the time to start gearing them up or gearing her up to take on the task. Islam. Article 6.
Article 6. The Wazir al-Araz of the convention who has persistently violated the principle contained in the present let me start over. A Wazir al-Araz of the convention who has persistently violated the principle contained in the present convention may be expelled from the council by the council. The exercising of these rights and privileges may be restored by the council.
So even a wazir can be what do you call it, removed from the council, but then he can be brought back by the council. So, in other words, no one is above Moroccan law, not even the Wazir. Okay, so now let's talk about the organs real quick. Go ahead, good brother Hakeem. What were you gonna say?
Islam on that point. It may be explained later on, but we should definitely lay out procedures for that removal. We don't want another repeat of what happened with AMPAG.
Say it again. Lay out procedures for what?
For the removal that was just read.
Yeah. Okay.
We don't want to leave it up to interpretation.
Islam. Great point. That's why it's still in review. I'll bring that to the table.
Excuse me, good brother. I have to step away for a minute.
Okay, no problem. I'll take over.
I don't mind reading.
Okay, go ahead. Who's this? This is Wazir?
No, this is I'm new. My name is Kyrie Bay, but I'm out in Georgia too, but I'm new.
All right, good brother. You kind of sound like the Wazir from AMPAG. Okay, go ahead, brother.
Okay, chapter 3, organs, article 7, number 1. There are established principal organs of the convention as follows: a Wazir Regional Council, a Secretariat, a Security Council of Defense, a Treasurer, an Economic and Social Council, a Trusteeship Council, and a Compulsory Regional Supreme Court of Justice. Number 2, such subsidiary organs as may be found necessary may be established in accordance with the present convention. Number 3, the council shall elect the executive director of the Secretariat and the inspector general of the Security Council of Defense for a term of 4 years with the possibility of 1 re-election. All other elections and appointments shall be in conformity with provisions of the present convention.
Okay, I appreciate that. Hold on, Islam, good brother. So you see, we've got organs. This is where forecasting for the future. A lot of the stuff that that we've read thus far is not in operation fully yet, but it's to come. So it's been written in future tense. So we've got, other than the Wazir Regional Council, obviously we've got the Secretariat, which is similar to the United Nations. They got a Secretariat. We got a Security Council of Defense. The United Nations got that. A Treasury, an Economic and Social Council, a Trusteeship Council, and a Compulsory Regional Supreme Court of Justice. That's our equivalent to the ICJ, right? And it's for our internal disputes and our internal affairs and our internal operations. And even and guess who else is subject to these laws? The United States, because they're in Morocco. So they have to even they are obligated to this, even if they're not signatory power. They're still obligated to it, because this would become the preemptory norms of Moroccan law. Any preemptory norms in international law, for example, even if you haven't acceded to it or became a party to it, you're still held accountable to it. You're still obligated to it. So a treaty or a convention such as the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations, for example, just because, let's say, Brazil did not accede to it, doesn't mean that Brazil is not obligated to uphold the principles in those provisions, or the provisions of that particular treaty or convention. If that makes sense, I hope it does. If there's any questions, the floor is open. Any questions or comments in regards to what we have read thus far?
Yes, point of interest. In regards to the section dealing with the organs of the WRC, as we can see, it mimics the organs of the United Nations, obviously.
Right.
In which that if you were to type in the United Nations decolonization in Google, go to the image section, you'll find some pictures explaining some of the details of the organ. And
right.
In quite a few of those pictures, it'll simply tell you the Economic and Social Council deals with things like the statistics, population development, et cetera, et cetera. And so with those direct words, we can go to the other website, the govinfo.gov, right? And we can type these direct words into this website, plug and play, and basically develop these organs based on these detailed words that it gives us in the pictures, and pretty much plug and play on the govinfo.gov website once we find a document for that specific organ. So just to throw that out there so we can pretty much have that in perception as we develop our states.
Islam. Excellent point of interest. All right, good brother. Kyrie, you may continue.
Okay, Article 8. The Wazir Regional Council shall place no restrictions on the eligibility of men and women to participate in any capacity and under conditions of equality in its principal and subsidiary organs.
So you see, the Wazirs don't have the power to just tell, arbitrarily tell whoever or whatever they can't be a part of, everything has to be based on equality. The vetting process has to be fair across the board. It cannot be based on sex, race, etc. We've got to be mindful of human rights and the right to self-determination. Okay, let's see. Okay, so this is the composition. You probably should go over that. Go through that real quick, brother. Number 1 of Article 9. Hold up, let me scroll back up for you. Yeah, all right, there you go. Go ahead.
Okay, Chapter 4, the Regional Council WRC composition. Article 9, number 1. The Wazir Regional Council shall consist of only duly elected and recognized Wazir al-Rayas.
Al-Rays.
Okay. Wazir al-Rays from their state of origin.
So you got to be duly elected and recognized. So your state has to be recognized, and you obviously got to be duly elected, right? Continue.
Okay. Functions and powers. Article 10. The Wazir Regional Council may discuss any questions or any matters within the scope of the present convention or relate to the powers and functions of any organs provided for in the present convention, and except as provided in Article 12, may make recommendations to the member states of the council or to the Security Council of Defense or to both on any such questions or matters.
That's right. Continue. Article 11. Go ahead.
Regarding the duly elected and recognized, perhaps we should add at the very end of that, by the council, so that they know who they need to be recognized by.
Hold on a second. Hold on. I think you're right. Where is it? Oh, down here. No, further up. What is that? Let me see. Those who shall consist. Okay, right here. Okay, so you're saying the Wazir Regional Council shall consist of only duly elected and recognized Wazir al-Rays from their state of origin by the council?
Well, I wasn't looking at the word. I was listening to what was being said, and I heard duly elected and recognized. And so my question initially was recognized by who? Who's recognized? And the only fitting thing was to add by the council. But now that I see this, it kind of gives a different
okay. So you okay?
Perception.
All right. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I know. I get you. Islam, appreciate that, good brother. Keep that. Keep that going. Where were we? Article 11.
Article 11, number 1. The Wazir Regional Council may consider the general principles of cooperation in the maintenance of regional and international peace and security, including the principles governing disarmament and the regulation of armaments, and may make recommendations about such principles to the member states or to the Security Council of Defense as a natural correlation with the Act of Algeciras, chapters 1 and 2, inter alia.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, The Wazir Regional Council may discuss any questions relating to the maintenance of the regional or international peace and security brought before it by any member state of the council, by the Secretariat, by the Inspector General, or by a Moroccan state which is not a member of the council in accordance with Article 35, Paragraph 2, and except as provided in Article 2, may make recommendations with regard to any such questions to the state or dependent states concerned, or to the Security Council of Defense, or to both. Any such question on which action is necessary shall be referred to the council by the Secretariat either before or after discussion. Number 3, the Wazir Regional Council may call the attention of the Security Council of Defense to situations that are likely to endanger regional or international peace and security. Number 4, the powers of the Wazir Regional Council set forth in this article shall not limit the general scope of Article 10.
All right, so that's that. And then let me see. Well, I want to see if I see. I'm up to 32. What time is it? It's close to 9:30. There's another point I think I want to touch on, because obviously we're not going to go through the entire document. Okay, yeah, I know what it is. I'll find it. We've got voting, the procedures, but I want to go to something very important right there. Read that for me, good brother, and we'll end this particular reading session with that, and we'll open up the floor for discussion.
Okay. Chapter 5, the United States of Morocco Treaty Organization. Composition, Article 23, Number 1. The United States of Morocco Treaty Organization articles shall be drafted by the Wazir Regional Council and come into force by protocol accessions to serve as a military alliance for homeland security throughout the Moorish Empire.
And it's supposed to serve as what? A military alliance for homeland security throughout the Moorish Empire, period. And the United States and all its dependency states and the United States of America fall under that jurisdiction. Continue, brother.
Okay. Number 2, the Wazir Regional Council shall appoint an Inspector General and establish a Security Council of Defense in harmony with the provisions of the United States of Morocco Treaty Organization. The Inspector General shall appoint a Moorish Minister of Defense to command the Police and Military Committee for the maintenance of regional and international peace and security for the equitable geographical distribution throughout the Moorish ports and trade routes. The international law of the sea shall not prejudice the treaty rights of Moors and Moorish ports in pursuance with the Act of Algeciras, Article 123, inter alia. Number 3, each member state shall appoint to the Security Council of Defense one consul general, and that representative shall have no more than 5,000 police or military personnel under their command from their state of origin. Number 4, the sergeant or sergeants at arms shall be under the command of the Moorish Minister of Defense without delay or interruption. The Moorish Minister of Defense shall be under the command of the Inspector General. The Inspector General shall be under the command of the Wazir Regional Council. Continue?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Functions and powers. Article 24. Number 1, in order to ensure prompt and effective action by the Wazir Regional Council, its member states confer on the Security Council of Defense and the Inspector General the primary responsibility for the maintenance of international peace and security, and agree that in carrying out its duties under this responsibility, the Moorish Minister of War, the sergeant or sergeants at arms, and their police and military acts on their behalf. Number 2, in discharging these duties, the Security Council of Defense shall act in accordance with the purposes and principles of the Wazir Regional Council and as a natural corollary to the United Nations Charter. The specific powers granted to the Security Council of Defense for the discharge of these duties are laid down in chapters 6, 7, 8, and 12. Number 3, the Inspector General shall submit annual and, when necessary, special reports to the Wazir Regional Council for its consideration.
Islam, you can stop there. Read 25 real quick for me.
Okay.
Article 20.
Article 25. The organs and representatives of the Secretariat, which includes the organs of the Security Council of Defense, agreed to accept and carry out the decisions of the Wazir Regional Council and the member states in accordance with the present convention and in harmony with the articles of the United States of Morocco Treaty Organization. The United States of Morocco Treaty Organization shall also be under the command of the Wazir Regional Council and its military staff, committee, inter alia.
So this is serious business. We ain't playing. I'm gonna skip all the way down to the instructions. Every treaty or convention has instructions. These are the signatory powers right here, the original signatory powers, right? It was done at the capital of Elodia Morris Parade in Monte, Colorado on 30th January 2023. So you got DeAndre Dre Bay as the Wazir as the Wazir for AMPAG. Amir Hassaniel as the Wazir for New Mecca. Yours truly as the Wazir for AMPAG, and Brother Akil Bey as the Wazir for Meru State Republic. So these are the signatory powers. This is where we would affix our signature, right? So Article 110 and 111. Go ahead, brother. Article 110.
Okay, Article 110, number 1. The present convention shall be ratified by the signatory states in accordance with their respective constitutional processes. Number 2, the ratification.
So, what does it mean, or what does it mean in accordance with their respective constitutional processes? You see that often on all the treaties, ratified by the signatory states or the signatory powers in accordance with their respective constitutional processes. Your constitutional process deals with, once you accede to the treaty, convention, agreement, act, whatever, whether it be the Wazir Regional Council or the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations, it doesn't matter. Your constitutional process or procedures would be you writing legislation within the state in acceptance of said treaty or convention or agreement. So it has to be ratified. It has to be enacted as legislation within your state, ratified, and then deposited with the depository based on the instructions. In this case, it would be the Secretariat, which is NOVA, right? The other conventions and treaties, etc., come from the United Nations. So the depository would be the Secretariat of the United Nations, which is Antonio Guterres. You understand? And so I just wanted to clarify, what does that mean by the constitutional processes? That's very important for Morris to understand, because that deals with the integrity of domains of your state. It deals with the operation of your state. When you accede and become a party to a treaty, you have to, in order to make it stick, in order to make it have judicial standing within your state, you have to enact legislation in acceptance of said treaty and deposit it with the United Nations. Continue, brother. Number 2.
Okay, number 2. The ratification shall be deposited with the Office of the Secretariat, a sessions portal, which shall notify all the signatory states of each deposit, as well as the executive director of the Secretariat when he or she has been elected.
Right. So the Secretariat, once you deposit it with the Secretariat now turns around and deposit it, or basically transmitted to the other signatory powers. This is mirror image language. This is exactly how all the treaties are worded and established with the same instructions. Why reinvent the wheel? See, those principles come from the Act of Algeciras. It comes from the Treaty of Madrid. Those treaties were written by the Sultan, by the Moxen, by Morocco, right? Never mind that the Sultan was a pale-faced Arab. It's the office of Morocco. It's the office of the Sultan. Sultan is an office in Morocco, the highest office, right? So my point is that that language was established by our treaties and is currently used in international law on all their conventions and agreements and resolutions. That same language, right? So again, when the prophet says, learn from the Europeans, it's because the Europeans had already learned from us. They've already copied, plug and played our principles of governance, right? As it relates to the documents that has been written in the past. All they did was copy and pasted it. So now we copy and pasting it right back. Islam, go on, brother. Number 3.
Number 3. The present convention shall come into force upon the deposit of ratifications by the state of Allodium, Moorish Pradium, Ante, Colorado, the state of Allodium, Moorish Pradium of New Mecca, the state of Allodium, Moorish Pradium, Ante, Georgia, the state of Meru, State Republic. A protocol of the ratifications deposited shall thereupon be drawn up by the office of the Secretariat of the Convention, which shall communicate copies thereof to all the signatory states. Number 4, the states signatory to the present convention, which ratify it after it has come into force, will become original members of the multilateral convention for the establishment of a Wazir Regional Council in the Moroccan Empire on the date of the deposit of their respective ratifications.
Those are the instructions, the general provisions on what you need to do to be found with full power in good and due form. That's what's in all the other treaties, right? There's protocols, there's procedures, there's instructions on how to become a party to a treaty. Anything outside of those set of instructions and rules, what are you doing? You might as well go back to the old paradigm. This is a new paradigm over here, and part of this new paradigm is to follow the instructions. If you go and you buy a bicycle, or let's say a playground, you can make an attempt to assemble it without the instructions, but guess what? The box comes with instructions. You'll shorten you would reduce your frustration and stress by following the instructions and doing it the right way the first time, versus just doing it because you're a Moor. Oh, I'm a Moor, so I can just build anything. And by consanguinity, I can build anything. And you just built it, and then the swing is upside down, the slide is sideways. And oh Lord, now I have to undo it all and follow the instructions to do it right when you could have done that in the first place. It's all about the instructions, more. We have to follow the instructions. We can't do things just because we're Moors, just because of our consanguinity. The world has moved on while we've been asleep. We want things to go back to the way we want it to be. Well, first we have to take back the throne. Once we take back the throne, then we can start instituting all the reforms to bring things back to how we want it to be. Until then, we have to follow the rules and regulations. Islam is not hard. It's actually quite simple. Finish off, good brother, with Article 111.
Okay, Article 111. The original signatures to the present convention shall remain deposited in the archives of the government of the Allodium Moorish Palladium, Ante, Colorado. Duly certified copies thereof shall be transmitted by that government to the governments of the other signatory states.
Islam, and that's the end. Obviously, we didn't go through the whole thing. It's a lengthy document. We'll be here all night, but and plus it's not in full force yet. It's still awaiting review and ratification. And so I just wanted to, in the interest of the fact that I didn't have nothing to talk about because it's a last minute discussion, I figured, hey, why not talk about the Wazir Regional Council? It's a fascinating convention. It's a fascinating operation. It's actually a brilliant thing to do. Because what it's doing really is it's a placeholder for the central government of Morocco, right? It's there until the Constitution for the United States of Morocco has been enacted. Until then, we have a system to protect all of our Moroccan states from, should I say, belligerents, or not necessarily just belligerents, but from any off-putting activities from foreign states, such as the United States of America, and all its constituent chartered colony dependency states, such as the state of Georgia, such as the state of AMPAG, such as the so-called state of Indiana, etc. It's for our protections. It's for our own in-house control and governance. It's also to show the world that we can govern ourselves. It's also to show the world that our competency levels are increasing by the day. By the time we get to the ICJ, we're not going to be something that they want to deal with. And that's still not nothing. When we get to your children, when we get to your posterity, by the time we get there, we'll be popping willies. Because right now we're like, we're riding the bicycle with one training wheel, right? We're not on both training wheels. We're riding on one training wheel. Eventually that one training wheel will come off. We'll be able to start pedaling and doing our thing on the bicycle. Eventually we'll be popping willies and doing all types of BMX, I forgot what you call them, that industry, that genre of sports, but the whole bike trick thing. We'll be doing all type of bike tricks, right? Because it's just a matter of relearning what we have lost. And by the time we get to our children, by the time this gets to our children, which will be quite a few years down the line, man, by the time it gets to them, we would long ago have already established economic liberty without any inequality, which means our financial condition would have changed for the better. And our children would be in a position to where now they can be taught properly how to become government officials and how to carry on the baton for their predecessors, which is the living legends of today. Because keep in mind, Moors, we are living legends right now. Not too many Moors can brag about the fact that they have enacted a constitution that's been ratified, deposited, and promulgated according to international law, specifically the Charter, Article 102 of the Charter. The instructions that are laid out in that particular article, which is similar to what we just read. It tells you what you're supposed to do. And one of which is to deposit your ratified deposit. It doesn't say ratified deposit. What it says is international agreements. And the Constitution is an international agreement because it's an agreement amongst the people who came together to create establish an agreement on their as it relates to their sovereignty. And that agreement is called the Constitution. That gets deposited, as well as any other treaties that you may accede to, or even treaties that you create. So depositing this convention is following the instructions of Article 102 of the Charter, because it says any international agreement must be deposited. Well, this is an international agreement. This is a beautiful thing, it's a brilliant thing. We're moving at light speed, even if it seems as though we're moving slow. But time doesn't, when you're in the mix of time, it appears as though it's moving slow. Let it be 4:30 and you get off at 5 o'clock. That 30 minutes is the slowest 30 minutes of your life. But in actuality, it's moving fast as hell. Time is flying. And before you know it, we'll be at the ICJ, Moors. So it's important for us to make sure that we have full powers that's found in good and due form, so that when we present ourselves at the ICJ, the United States cannot poke holes in anything that they may see where we have made an egregious mistake. Very important. This is very important. That's why we established the WRC, to make sure that any states that's coming online have the full powers as found in good and due form so that the United States cannot poke holes at nothing. They're going to have to just sit there and deal with it. Islam, I yield the floor. I open the floor for discussion, comments, questions, critiques, concerns.
I had
Take it
a
away.
question. I actually meant to ask it earlier.
Yeah.
It was pertaining to, I think, chapter 3 on the organs. I think it was Article 7.
Chapter 3 is Article 7. Let's go to it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So these are when it says these are established principal organs, and it lists all of the organs there. Are these organs as far as for each state, or just particular for the council itself? I know I believe I heard you say these are future positions, as some of them aren't filled as of yet.
Right.
Are these as far as like, will these be a part of every state, or is this just for the council?
It's just for the convention, for the council. However, these the officials who would hold those seats in the council will come from the states, right? Just as well as all the wazirs come from recognized states. Well, the consul general would be for example, the inspector general, right? The sutra, or the minister of defense, would be the what do we call them? The Security Council of Defense, etc. Your treasurer of your state could potentially be the treasurer of the council. So they will come out of there. They come from the more states, but they represent the council. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Islam. Quick point. This is a great study session, by the way. As far as this whole document, we can see that basically security is the theme of this convention, and basically one of the first things that all more states have to focus on when we're talking about enacting laws through our own states. And so along with diplomatic relations being one of the first things that must be established, but in relation to our laws, we have to basically keep security, which is one of the first things that we're talking about, basically in mind. So if you research the laws that the United States has, diplomatic and consular officers, their laws, right? They plug in, what is that, 22 chapter 6, or 22 USC chapter 6, or something like that. Basically that Maru is editing one of those documents so that we can enact laws for diplomatic and consular agents through our own state. So we know we have the consular, the Diplomatic Relations Convention. We know we have the Consular Relations Convention, but through our own state, we'll have to, enact those laws specifically for, the family members. What does family mean? The diplomatic agents, the consular agents, et cetera, et cetera. So security is not only dealing with what I just mentioned, the diplomatic and consular officers, but as well as the arms, as well as the whole integrity of domains part, right? Our state IDs, everything that we're working on now, we have to make laws for. So we want to work on what we have now, as well as our future first steps, which is dealing with security. Because if it's about diplomatic relations and we want to have friendly relations, shake hands, right? We don't want to shake hands with a big red flag on your hip and it's looking like a 40. You know what I mean? We got to make it make sense. So if we're here to establish peace and not war, we got to go in a proper chronological order, subsequential order, as far as developing the states. There's not an exact order, but we can generalize it as far as what needs to be done first. So if we looked at the Active Roger series, we see it talks about arms there, right? We can plug and play from certain articles there. We see that the United States has codes, laws, policies on diplomatic agents and consular agents, or officers, and what happens to them, right? If you look up 22, chapter 6, or whatever it is, you'll see that they define what family means. They define, and also another thing, that when you're also editing these documents, it might say 22, chapter 6, or whatever. That's their numbering for their codes and their system, in which that's what will actually take you more time to edit the documents, and not necessarily, trying to. It's not a lot to do. It's more to take away than it is to add, really. And so, so as you look at a document like that, or any other documents, you can kind of just keep this in mind. You see all these numbers and 22 USC, whatever it says, that's their stuff. We are to create our own. So I did want to throw that out there, as far as, we're talking about diplomatic agents, we're talking about security, we're talking about consular officers, et cetera, et cetera. But none of this means anything if we don't enact any laws on whatever the topic is through our state. So we want to just keep in mind, the United States doesn't have that many laws on diplomatic agents. It's a handful of laws that they have that we can copy and paste from, plug and play. So just keep all of that in mind, really. The security aspect and what it really encompasses.
That's an excellent point of interest, because ultimately what the good brother's referring to is the conversion of legislation to your U.S. legislation to your legislation. So, for example, USC Code 18 dash whatever, right? Those are internal numbers that identifies their legislation. You don't have to use that. You create your own internal numbers. However, the language that's in it is what you're converting, right? Is what you copy and pasting and plugging and playing. So, for example, let's use the rights of indigenous peoples, for example. Wherever it says, let's say, for example, okay, so Article 6, I think it says, all indigenous people have a right to a nationality. I think that's Article 6. Okay, well, a form of converting it, copy and paste, plug and play, would be to change the language around, yet keeping the context the same. So where it says indigenous people have a right to a nationality, you would say Moroccan nationals of Allodium, Orange, Palladium, Ante, Georgia have the right to a nationality. Simple as that. So you take the vague language and you make it germane and specific to your state, or that's international law, because international law is kind of vague. But as it relates to United States laws, United States codes and statutes, in many cases, those are specific. So the specific aspect of it would say something like the United States has the right to arrest anyone who wears a Yankee hat. Well, you would say the Allodium, Orange, Palladium, Ante, Georgia, you replace the United States, you put Allodium, Orange, Palladium, Ante, Georgia has the right to arrest anyone with a Yankee hat. You see, that's how you convert it. That's it. So writing legislation is not a big deal, because it's not a thing that you have to necessarily do from scratch. We got legislation that we've written from scratch, but for the most part, legislations are usually as big as a pamphlet minimum, or damn near like a daggone book. It's a lot of words. So instead of burning up the brain cells to have to reinvent the wheel and rewriting everything, you just take what they already have and you convert it to your state to match your state, and the language would contain within your state. All the definitions you define them as you see fit, because your Moroccan law reigns supreme anyway. I don't care what the United States says that this particular word means. This is what it means in our state, right? Just the same way you've seen in the beginning of this particular document, we define what an American is. We define what America is. We had several definitions. We define several things as what we see fit within our jurisdiction of Morocco, which again reigns supreme. So that's a great point, and it definitely deals with your security, because as you're dealing with the second phase of establishing your state, which is integrity of domains. Integrity of domains deals with your legislation, your laws, and the enforcement of those laws through your consular court, which is your security, which also deals with the police, law enforcement. It's all dealing with laws and courts. legislation, laws, and courts, right? And so that deals with the security of your the security of your state and the borderlines within your state, as well as the homeland security of the borders of the United States of Morocco. Islam. I yield for any other questions or comments.
I actually have a question on that point that was just made.
Yes.
So would that be the same as if let's say AMPAG wrote legislation and it was deposited to the Secretariat, and then it was also sent to the United Nations, and it was deposited to this Secretariat of the United Nations, and then there's another council later in the future, and whatever article that was, you could utilize an article that was deposited in the future legislation. And would that be similar to like an article on like a Treaty of Madrid or Act of Algeciras?
Are you? I'm not sure I clearly understand the question. Are you asking, okay, so we've got this particular convention. If we came up with another convention, will we still have to deposit it? Is that what you're asking? I'm not sure.
If there was a, as far as legislation that was written and it was deposited, and in a future instance, we could use acts from that legislation and put it into the council in like a future meeting, and it would pretty much hold the same weight as like a Treaty of Madrid or Act of Algeciras if it's deposited within the Secretariat of the Council and deposited in the UN. Would that be?
It would. Excuse me. It'll have its own set of powers, but it won't have the powers wouldn't supersede the Act of Algeciras. Article 123. I think, of the Act of Algeciras. I'm on the Act of Algeciras. Let's go to it. Control F. Article 123. What happened? What happened? All right, that's fine. I'll just scroll all the way down. Control F usually helps you get to it straight, get to it straight, but I'll just scroll because it's the last one. And it states, is it 123 or 122? It should be 120. Is it 123? Oh, yeah, I'm tripping. It is 123. Okay, it says, and last, all treaties, conventions, and arrangements of the signatory powers with Morocco remain in force. It is understood, however, that in case of conflict between their provisions and those of the present General Act, the stipulations of the latter shall prevail. So the stipulations and the provisions of the Act of Algeciras shall prevail over all other agreements, conventions. So it won't have the same power as the Act of Algeciras, but it would have its own powers nonetheless, based on the depository. But yes, you could do that if I think I understand your question clearly. And I hope I answered it clearly as well.
Yeah, you answered it. Thank you.
Islam. I came to the Act of Algeciras to the top of it because I wanted to point out, based on what the good brother Akil was speaking on. And when we talk about the organs and the police and the military, Article 1, or should I say Chapter 1. So you notice it says who furnished with full powers, which were found in good and due form, right? You got to have full powers that's found in good and due form. Have in conformity with the program upon which His Sharifian Majesty and the powers have agreed, successively discussed and adopted. So the United States has discussed and adopted Chapter 1, a declaration relative to the organization of the police, meaning that we take control of the police. The United States negotiated and adopted this through their signature. Article 2, or should I say Chapter 2, a regulation concerning the detection and repression of the contraband of arms. So we have control over the police, and we got control over the guns. Again, the United States discussed and adopted this, which means Pacta Sunt Servanda, Agreements must be kept. Promises must be kept. This is a preemptory norm of international law. This is the treaty, the Vienna Convention on the Law of Treaties, 1969 or 61. I always get confused with 69 and 61. Those 2 years is when the Vienna Convention went ham with all types of conventions. Okay, so they have, and how do we know that they have adopted this? Okay, I just showed y'all the signatory page. Well, let's show you the signatory page of this one. So you've seen the signatory page of the convention. Let's look at the one for active adversary. So Russia, Sweden, Russia, Portugal, Netherlands, Morocco don't have a signature on there because it was done by verbal decree. We already went over that. Italy, Great Britain, France, the United States of America, Henry White and Samuel Gumaray. For the United States of America, with reservation of the declaration made in the plenary session of the conference on April 7, 1906, Henry White, Samuel Gumaray. United States of America. They have adopted this. So chapter 1 and chapter 2 chapter 1 deals with the organization of the police, which the police is the military. The military and the police, same thing. One is for internal control, the other one is for external protection, right? And both of them hold and carry what? Chapter 2, arms. So not only do we have control of the organization as the police, but we even got control over their guns. Moors, we got a lot of power. Oh my God. And it's not even limited to the United States. It's all the signatory powers. We have control over Russia's guns and their military. We have control over France's guns and their military. Great Britain, Spain, Sweden, Portugal, all the signatory powers that I just read. And some, because those aren't the only signatory powers, those are the main powers. But there's others. Who are the others? Okay. Let's go back to the top. Boy, we got so much power. It's a reason why they've been going so crazy on us as it relates to keeping us miseducated. They don't want us to know this. Where is it? Oh, shoot. Keep going back and forth. Okay. Right here. Section 31. Okay. So His Majesty the Emperor of Germany, Prussia, right? His Majesty the Emperor of Austria, Bohemia, Apostolic King of Hungary, the King of Belgians, the King of Spain, the President of the United States of America, the President of the French Republic, His Majesty the King of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland, and of the British dominions beyond the seas, Emperor of India, etc., the King of Italy, the Majesty, you got the Sultan of Morocco, the Queen of the Netherlands, His Majesty the King of Portugal and of the Algraves, His Majesty the Emperor of all the Russias, His Majesty the King of Sweden. They went over them again, back down here again. They went over them like twice for some reason. I'm not exact. I think the second reason is because it showcases that they are under the jurisdiction of the Pope, right? But Hungary, I mean, you got even India, right? The Belgians, all these countries, Morris. Let me see where else. The Belgians, I mean, they're just repeating it again over here on the second part of the preamble. I'm not 100% sure why they repeated them, but they did. And all those signatory powers are under our authority, which means chapter 1 and chapter 2 and all the other chapters apply to all those countries and some, Morris. Oh man, I keep trying to get Morris to understand we got to come to the mindset of Neo and the mindset of Luke Skywalker when they knew they had these powers. Right now, Morris are like inconfident, like, yeah, I read it, but I'm not sure. And I understand, but it only means that you got to study some more so that it can become more ingrained in you, so that you can now really start seeing it even more. So when now you raise up from the dead, Neo, right? You raise up from the dead, and the agents start shooting bullets at you, you don't even dance around them no more. All you do is put your hands up and the bullets just freeze. You grab one, look at it, turn your head like, what the hell? And then it just falls. That's who you are, Moors. You are the Infinity Gauntlet. You are Thanos. One snap of a finger, and this whole thing. This is the reason why we cannot be belligerent. This is the reason why we have to be in the spirit of love and not hate. This is the reason why it's all about uplifting fallen humanity. This is why it's all about love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. That's because all those principles, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, those are the highest principles on planet Earth, which means you have to be where? In your higher self. Hate, fear, right? Injustice, lies. Basically, the opposite of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice is your lower self. And in your lower self, with those powers, man, come on. We'd be burned up the entire planet. We would destroy the planet if we come into this thing in the wrong mindset, in the wrong spirit. We have to be in our higher self under the spirit of love and uplifting all of humanity, right? So that we can maintain the international peace and security around planet Earth. That can only happen in your higher self, Morris. In your lower self, man, you'd be done burned down the entire planet. We'll be worse than the colonists. The colonists can't hold a candle to us, good or bad, positive or negative. Whatever they are in a positive sense, we're 10 times that. Whatever they are in a negative sense, we're 10 times that. So whatever cares of the world that's been created by the colonists here on planet Earth, oh man, we can take it 10 times worse than that. We are something else. We are a special people. We are in our lower self, in our worst state, and people are still mimicking us. You still see white boys with dreads, or with their pants off their butts, or with the Yankee cap to the side, with Timberlands on. They think they hip hop. White rappers, Eminem, Elvis Presley. He want to be like, what's that other rocker, the black rocker dude? Jimi Hendrix. I seen Africans in Ghana wearing Yankee hats. Now I know good and well ain't no New York Yankees out there. So what they doing with Yankee hats on? Why are they spitting rap songs and they trying to rap in Canaan from Ghana? As we lead, everyone follows, good, bad, or indifferent. Even in our negative state, people are following us around. Imagine in our higher self, in our higher state, the spirit of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice would bleed across the world. And everyone would be in their higher self because we came to our higher self. It all starts and ends with us. That's why the prophet came to us. Why didn't he go to the Africans? Why didn't he go to the Filipinos, Australians? Why did he come here, northwest of Mexico, the North Cape? Because we are the special people. How deep that goes, I'm not sure. There's definitely something about us, though. Even in our subjugated state, we are the richest people, the richest so-called melanated or black people on planet Earth. We're responsible for trillions of dollars as consumers. We've got Jay-Z. We got Oprah. We got Bob Johnson. We got Tyler Perry. Right? Dr. Dre. We got all these prominent figures who are multimillionaire, damn near billionaires. Some are billionaires 10 times over or a few times over. Combine all that wealth. Sure. We got it good. Oh my God. Morris, we got to understand the power that we have, even in our lowest state. Imagine when we come to our higher self and we start enacting these laws and instituting reforms and taking back control of the military and the police and the control of the arms around planet Earth. We can single-handedly, with the snap of a finger, end all wars or keep them going. It depends on which way we go. But I'll tell you this, the world is not going to tolerate us coming in with a belligerent mindset. So it actually behooves us to come in with a positive mindset and uphold the principles of the charter, which is dealing with international peace and security. which is the spirit of our Moroccan treaties in the first place anyway. It comes from the treaty, from the Act of Algeciras. It's for the betterment of Morocco. The United Nations is for the betterment of Morocco. It's in Morocco, for crying out loud. It's in New York. It's in our front yard. I yield. Or I get more emotional or passionate, I should say. I yield. Any other questions, concerns, comments? Islam. So go ahead. Somebody came off mute.
Yeah,
No.
I have a comment. This is Kyrie again. I just want to say, I feel like I've been studying more science for 2 years, for the last 2 years, and like the UCCs and all the Constitution for 2 years too, and I just feel like I'm back at square one, but a good square one. With coming into starting with the Act of Algeciras, that's where I started with as far as on the YouTube, and just reading the Act of Algeciras, it just pretty much lays out everything. It has all the steps that we can follow, and so and this is my first time hearing it, and I came in as a civics more as well. I remember you mentioning that on one of your videos. I came in as a civics more, wanting to learn law, and so.
Right.
And this is my first time actually even hearing about it and I've pretty much watched all the main Moorish teachers, as you can say, that are on YouTube. So I'm very appreciative of these lectures, and I've actually learned a lot these last couple of weeks that I've been watching the YouTube. But I yield.
Islam, good brother. Gratitude for your attendance and your attention. And you are starting from square one. I felt the same way. And this is where you want to be. You're gonna need to unlearn all the old all the things that you learn out of the old paradigm. It's not gonna do you justice, because at the end of the day, you would still be a ipso Moorish subject. And the goal is to come out of that status so that you can truly be in propria persona sui juris, which is as a national who is recognized under the flag and seal of a Moroccan state, whereas you have took an allegiance to and now fall under that jurisdiction. Now, that's how you come out of the United States jurisdiction, not just by saying it, oh, you have no jurisdiction over me. Okay, well, what other jurisdiction who has jurisdiction over you then? What, are you just an outlaw? Well, you don't fall on you fall under nobody's jurisdiction, huh? No. I fall under the jurisdiction of the empire. Okay, who's the president? Who's the sultan? Who is any? Give me a name of any governmental body. Crickets, because the empire is in a shallow grave right now. It's void of a government. We have to reestablish that government. In the meantime, we can establish our several states. Look at what's on the screen. His Majesty the King of Italy, Emile Marquis Visconti Venosta, Knight of the Order of the Very Holy Annunciation. I don't even know what the hell that is, but I know it's a secret. It's a secret. What do you call it? A secret society of some sort, and even their secret society fall under our authority. It's in a treaty. Like the Knight of the Order of the Very Holy Annunciation, really? Everybody on that, all those other signatory powers are subordinate to the dominant powers in this treaty, and the dominant powers of these treaties are the Moors. Not even the Sultan, because the Sultan is no longer. There is no more Sultan. The Sultan became a king. He's now the king of the Kingdom of Morocco, and we are the various Wazirs and Qazis and Sayyarahas and ministers of foreign affairs, Hajibs and Muftis of the Moroccan Empire, which means we have authority over that king in the Kingdom of Morocco. He falls under our authority. It's a beautiful thing. But back to you, good brother. Yes, you are starting from square one, but it's fortunate. And fortunately, you didn't spend too much time in the indoctrination cesspool that the old Moorish paradigm is. It really is an indoctrination cesspool, right?
It is. I can relate to the situation that happened with you, and you said it worked until it didn't work no more. Because I found myself in a similar situation.
Mm-hmm.
Crickets, like you said. So
right, as many of the other Moors, many Moors that I know personally, a lot of stuff worked until it didn't work no more. You know, and that's how it was. It was like that with the Great Seal and all the great things that the Great Seal was doing. It appeared awesome at the on the surface, but the reality of the situation is that they were subjugated. They were just given privileges, not they didn't take back their rights. They were just given privileges. And when they got tired of Moors exercising those privileges and other Moors jumping on the bandwagon, they said, "Okay, we got to stop this," and they stopped it. And just like that, you back to square one. But the whole time you riding around doing whatever you want. Now suddenly you can't do that no more. That's subjugation. And that's what you call privileges. Just like the driver's license. They can pull your driver's license and you no longer can drive no more, right? Now without getting arrested or something. Those are privileges. We're not here for privileges. We're not even here to ask or beg or pray for rights. We are here to establish our rights and recognize our own rights. And you have to adhere to it too, United States of America, and all your chartered dependency states. This is the mindset that we're coming with. This is what you call sovereignty and independence. Anything else is subjugation. And I ain't got time for that. I might as well just remain as a Negro if I'm gonna continue under subjugation with privileges and looking cool because I got a fez on, but yet I'm still an ipso Joe Morris subject. No, I'm good on that. Let's do as the prophet said, and he didn't even, not what he said. Let's do as the prophet demonstrated on the one-on-ones with him carrying the mother. He's stepping out of the cares of the world onto the rock of salvation. The cares of the world is American jurisdiction. The rock of salvation is Morocco. So the prophet was choosing between the entire submission of the laws of the empire. He was following along with what was displayed on Article 15 of the Treaty of Madrid, 1880, which is a nationality clause that they had tried to remove in 1959 between the United States and the King of Morocco, which was an attempt to violate human rights, just cogence. That's why it didn't work. We missed a bullet with that one. Because if it was done back in 1910, we would have been through. Because the Sultan would have still had that power and there wouldn't have been no United Nations upholding just cogence or human rights. I yield. Any other questions, concerns before we close out? We'll close out around 10:25, 10:30.
Islam, brother. I do.
Islam.
This is AMPAG, Wazir.
Yeah.
The document you just finished reading over, the official document that you just read on the treaty. This is coming from the position of the Wazirs, right? Office of Wazir. I'm sorry, the office of Wazir.
Are you referring to the document that I have on the screen?
Yes, the one you have on the screen.
Oh, no, that's the Act of Algeciras.
Okay, I'm sorry. I had emergency and I stepped out and I just recently stepped back in.
No problem. Yeah, I was just going over the signatory powers of the Act of Algeciras to showcase all the people that we got authority over, or not people, but territories or
entities.
Yeah, like look at this right here. It says even His Catholic Majesty, but it says His Envoy Extraordinaire and Minister Plenipotentiary to His Catholic Majesty. That means this is Portugal. So that means that they're attached to the Catholic Majesty. So they're attached to the Catholic Majesty, and the Catholic Majesty they're attached to us. So by default, we have authority over all of them. And by the way, the Grand Sheikh, the Mufti, put something on in the chat to reaffirm what I was saying. And what he put on here was one of the prophecies, statements and oral statements and prophecies of the prophet. And he said, when you Moors are back on top, treat the European right. You know what I'm saying? And he went on to say, it's only by the insufficiency of knowledge we are in the condition we are in. So let's be sufficient in our knowledge, peace, and love. But that's what the prophet said. He said, when you Moors get back on top, treat the European right, i.e., patience.
I want to piggyback on there. Let's treat our melanated people.
Hold on, Wazir. You don't piggyback on nothing. You over here camelbacking, baby.
Yeah, camelback. Let's treat our people, our melanated people too, because we got to treat our melanated people as well, and we have some of them gonna be rebellion as if they was Abians.
Well, that goes without saying. It would make the statement about the Europeans because we have such a thing against them. And it's a matter of clearing up that mindset and say, no, we can't have anything against them because we started this mess in the first place. First of all, let's talk about the creation, right? And then the subsequent enslavement and harems and all the stuff that we did to them. So if we're going to treat our people right, of course. I mean, that goes without saying. What doesn't go without saying is because there's a lot of Moors that want to see white people hung and enslaved and
yes.
And that's why it's important to make that point clear. So it's for those Moors who are thinking like that, who need to come in themselves.
And from my experience myself, brother, and I deal with a lot of Arians, and they are in this fight too with us. They just tackling it from a different standpoint.
That's correct.
I'm in a group of some Arians that building a 254-page to send to the Supreme Court. And they dealing it from their perspective. So we're all in this fight together. It's just our cover don't look the same, but inside the book we fighting the same enemy.
That's right. You saw it with the insurrection of January 6th when they tried to run up in the Capitol. Now when you really examine the footage, it's real suspect. Doors were being opened and all kind of weird stuff was taking place. But that's irrelevant. The point is that there was a bunch of so-called white people who are considered patriots, who are looking to bring down the United States corporation because they have come to the understanding and the knowledge that the United States Republic, the United States of America, was eschewed, right? And they're pissed off about that. And they want the United States of America Republic back. And guess what? We want it back too, because that's a signatory power anyway. But they can't do nothing without us, though. So they are in this fight with us on a different level, yet the same concerns. And they're not as bad as we might think or the media may portray them to be. And I know that I'm speaking from experience. Right now I'm working with a friend of mine. He has a club. I'm working with him at night at his club, and it's a white club actually. And there's nothing but white people that's in there. But the only thing that they play in there is black music, hip hop, and all that. And these people be in there just dance. I mean, they be, oh my God. And I'm talking about offbeat now, no rhythm, but they just loving on us, and they run up on me. They will always want to talk to me, and oh my God, you're the coolest. And I don't know. Have I had people call me the N-word? Not as much as black people. And I don't really recall too much of it. Have I experienced racism? Yes. But not necessarily directly like, hey, you nigger. Like, I haven't really had anything like that. Does it happen? I'm not saying that it doesn't. But all I'm saying is that for the most part, in my personal experience, it hasn't been like they have portrayed on movies like American X. I don't know if you guys ever seen that movie or any of these other KKK type movies, which really is a lot of indoctrination and brainwashing to get us both on a certain level of mindset. One superior, one inferior. That's how we ended up with this inferior mindset of them being above us. And then not only that, add to that the lies about us coming from Africa and us being slaves, and we've never done nothing else in history but be slaves. And it's just a bunch of misinformation and miseducation and indoctrination and brainwashing that has come down from the higher offices onto the people. This is why the people in the higher offices are to be held accountable and dealt with, and that includes people that look like us. As far as the lower level people, the regular everyday people, we could deal with them accordingly. They'll fall right on in. They're already paying taxes. They're just paying taxes to the wrong people. They're already paying taxes. They're just paying it to the wrong people. So it's up to us now to take back control of the empire and make sure that the IRS, all the monies that's being all the revenues that's being what's the word I'm looking for, collected for tax purposes, go to us and not the King of England, the Queen of England, King of England, or the Pope, or nothing like that. It's supposed to go to us directly and to us only. Islam?
Islam, brother. Thank you.
This is a beautiful thing. This is a beautiful, oh man. More as I said, 44. I might get a little emotional here. Came into this black movement, this Black Power RBG, red, black, and green movement a long time ago. And I thought it was going to be a bloody revolution. I thought it was all about, rifles and handguns running up in the White House. I thought I was a Black Panther. In fact, I joined the Black Panther. It was a new Black Panther Party. It was actually a sellout agency, but studied all the schools of thought. And what I'm saying to you all is I suspected it. Don't get me wrong, I suspected it, but I didn't know. I didn't know that we would be, and I certainly didn't know it would happen in my lifetime. This conversation that we're having today, these group of Moors that's on this call today, it's heartwarming. It's like, wow, it appears as though we got a long way to go, but we're so much closer than we ever been before, Moors. Like, within the next year, by 2024, we will be in economic liberty without any inequality. By 2024, we would have forced decolonization in Morocco. This is about to happen in our lifetime. And all of you, whether you are a government official or just a national, you all have a part to play in this, which is making all of you living legends right now.
Yes.
And we got to give thanks and honors to the good brother J. Jermaine Bey, the chief judge of consular court for AMPAG, for bringing this knowledge to us, or pointing us into the right in the right direction as it relates to the these are strong reference points that cannot be disputed. Keep in mind, Jay Bey didn't go into some basement and concocted some crazy plan with his own ideas and brought it to the people. No, what he did was he studied international law, well-settled principles that's already out there, and it's free to consumption. All you gotta do is Google it, and boom, it's free. You ain't gotta buy a book. You can just Google it, and it's free. What are you paying for? The internet? Okay. I guess you gotta pay for something, but you ain't really paying for the information. We are so close. And I never thought that it would happen in my lifetime. I suspected it would happen at some point, but never in my lifetime. But it's going down. Meet me at the club. It's going down. In fact, meet me at the ICJ. It's going down.
Going down in the DM.
Going down in the DM. It's going down. They going down. Down where? Right up under our jurisdiction.
Islam.
Right where they are. There, brother.
No, I was just agreeing with you.
Yeah. Somebody laughing in the chat. I don't know if you're laughing at me. If I sound funny, I probably did. But
Meet me at the ICJ.
man,
It's going on, man. It's real.
It's real. It's going down, man. And you guys are all part of it, whether you are a Wazir or just a national. Even if you haven't even established your state, the simple fact that this information is resonating with you means that you're up next. At some point, it's a done deal for the United States. And we don't even need all 50 states. We just need a few of them. And we already got 6, 7 of them. 6 and a possible. The 7th one, we don't know about all them. We don't know yet. We'll see. But 6 for sure. And that's why we're adamant about respecting international law and the principles and the customary norms of it. Because if we don't, they're going to take advantage of it. The United States will find a way. You got to remember, they've been rocking that pen for quite some time. They're well practiced. They're like veterans in the league, right? We're rookies in the league. We're just coming in. That don't mean that we can't take it to them, though. That don't mean we can't take it to them. Oh, we can take it to them. And the brilliant approach of the good brother Jay Bay is how I know we're gonna win. Why? What is the brilliant move? It's simple as hell, but it's so brilliant at the same time. Use their words against them. That's it. That's it. Use the words of the ICJ when they judge the case between France and the United States of America. Use those words against the United States. The judges said it, so it must be true. The judges said on page 202 that Moroccan laws can be made enforceable against the United States and its nationals as long as consular court is being exercised, and in that way only. So as long as we exercise consular court, they fall under our jurisdiction. Just that simple. How can we prove that? Where did they get that from? Okay, I got something for you. Let me show you where they got that from, which I've already showed y'all before. Because when they adjudicated that case, what was the reference points that they utilized? Treaty of Peace and Friendship, Treaty of Madrid, and a whole bunch of articles from the Act of Violence series, to include the one that I'm about to read to you right now. Article 102, I've already read it before. It's good to read it again. Every confiscation, fine, or penalty must be imposed. All the foreign by consular jurisdiction, consular court. As long as consular court is being exercised, that's what the ICJ judges said. But it didn't stop there. And on Moorish subjects by Sharifian jurisdiction. So we have authority over the American citizens and any other foreigners, as well as Black people. This is how I know we're going to beat them, because the whole idea, the whole goal is to just mirror image them. Whatever they say, we say it back to them. Whatever they said about the Indians, we say about y'all. Oh, so you say that the Indians are a dependency state under the United States jurisdiction? Okay, we say the United States is a dependency state under the Moroccan jurisdiction. How you like those apples? Simple. Yeah.
Islam, brother. I'm looking at say the enforce of these regulations in the reef. Can you collaborate what they mean on in the reef? Because I noticed that in the word sheriff you find that reef, and it's like in the word sheriff you find he and she and her, and then you got this reef after that. Can you can you elaborate on what do that if for mean right there?
Where it says RIF, it says in the region bordering on Algeria, the regulations shall be exclusive concern of France and Morocco. The enforcement of these regulations in the RIF and in general in the regions bordering on the Spanish possessions shall likewise be the exclusive concern of Spain and Morocco. Good question. I don't know what the RIF is, but I got something for you though. Here's what we can do. Google it. Let's Google RIF. Let's see what that means.
I know that IFF means to come if she called and come if she needs you, and share, because I did a dissect on the word share, because I see she, he, her, iffer. And when I think that she, he, her, iffer, I noticed that iffer is with the IFF mean to come if she call you and to be there on call or something. If someone needs you.
This is RIF. I remember this definition of RIF. It's with instruments, and a riff is a repeated chord progression, but that's not the riff we're talking about. Let me see if I can do riff in Morocco. Let's see what that means. Also called Rift Mountains, Arabic Al Rif Mountains range of northern Morocco. I think it's a region of some sort, though. Okay, all right, let's see right here. Okay, so it says the Rif with one F or Rif with two Fs, as is spelled out in the active value series, also called Rift Mountains, is a geographical region in northern Morocco. Okay, so it's a geographical region, it's a mountain. So if we go back and we read what it says, let's put it in the proper context. It says, the enforcement of these regulations in the Rif and in general in the region bordering on the location or a place in Morocco, which according to the Wikipedia, it's a mountain. So that's what the Rif is.
All right, thank you.
I don't think it has anything to do with Sharifian anything. But it's very interesting that you cannot spell Sharifian without
Or
she,
her,
though.
or he.
Well, no, just she. Sharifian, she. Sharifian. You can't spell it without she. Islam. Just like inheritance. You can spell inheritance without her. Inheritance. It comes from her. That's why, according to the Constitution, you have two different statuses, matrilineal and patrilineal, and only the like, for example, the legislative branch can only be composed of matriarchs who have a matrilineal status, because the matrilineal status means that your mother is a Moor, which absolutely makes you a Moor. Patrilineal means that your father's a Moor, but your mom could be something else. So if you got a Mexican mother and a black, or should I say Moorish father, your matrilineal status is that of a Mexican, suspect, right? We need Moorish mothers holding the pen, and only she can hold the pen. Islam.
Islam. And if you look in the word father, you got fat her.
You got her in there. You got her in father.
Fat her. If she pregnate her, he fat her.
Yeah, he fattened her. Yeah, we do that. I'm proud to say we do that damage.
And now he a father. Now he a father.
I'm proud to say we do fatten her. We do fatten you. We will do that. We that's what we do, you know. But you take over from there, because the womb is the first university, 9 months. That's why it's very important, so that it can then be passed on to the children. That's powerful. That daughters of American Revolution, that's what they do. They impose or fuse negative energy Black people in their pregnant, during their whatever, especially if it's their sons, and they're born with that mindset because they educated them to be that way while they were in the womb. They use our sciences. That's stuff that we used to do. That's how come we used to, the mothers used to give birth to, we constantly had warriors and soldiers and sultans and all types of high level individuals, because the mothers were teaching their daughters to be that while the child was in the womb. And we're teaching our children, we're still continuing on that same practice, unbeknownst to us. However, it's on a negative, it's from a negative perspective. So the mothers are teaching their daughters while they're in the womb how to twerk before they're even born. You see? Or teaching their sons how to be, I don't know, a deadbeat daddy, for example. Right? Just making stuff up. Well, not even making it up. These are examples, but these are real life examples. But then you also do have mothers who teach their children to be a certain way in their womb. And when, like, I'll give you an example. Let me give you a quick example. In speaking with J. Jermaine Bay, his mother is an avid reader. Her house is full of books. Wherever you sit, wherever you go, whatever table you sit at, there's a book. There's books all over the place. And she's been like that her whole life. So she taught J. Jermaine Bay how to read when he was in the womb. That didn't manifest in his life until he came across international laws, when he realized how much he loved to read. and he won't stop. He can't put a damn book down, not a book, but he won't put down a treaty for nothing in the world. He's constantly looking at treaties and conventions, and this is what he's telling me. And I believe it to be the case because of the way he reads. He explains how he reads. He's already explained it in previous classes. It's a cross puzzle. He reads right, left, up, down, diagonal, kind of like a word puzzle. And so he'll take a full paragraph and condense it to a single paragraph. What's an example? Okay, the Treaty of Madrid. The treaty of the first paragraph of the Treaty of Madrid, Article 15, is a pretty decent sized paragraph. He has condensed it to the point where I've memorized it, and other Moors have memorized it. So it goes, any subject of Morocco who has been naturalized in a foreign country must choose between the entire submission of the laws of the empire. That is not the full paragraph. There's a bunch in between. So the first line is any subject of Morocco who has been naturalized in a foreign country. And then it goes on to say a few other things, a lot of other things. And then it goes on to say must choose between the entire submission of the laws of the empire. He omitted all the extra stuff, the extra noise, and he just condensed the paragraph to be in a sentence. And that sentence now reads, any subject of Morocco who has been naturalized in a foreign country must choose between the entire submission of the laws of the empire. It helps you understand the treaty or the read a lot easier and much clearer. This is a perfect example of a mother teaching a son how to read in the womb before he was even born. Islam. So with that said, I'll yield. I'll close out. I went past the time by 10, 11 minutes. It's 10:41. I can't stop it. I can't help it. I can talk about this stuff all day, all night, but we can't because people got to go to work. And I myself got things to do, and some people done got tired of hearing me speaking, and they done jumped off the call anyway. So I'll give you all an opportunity for a last question or comment before we close out.
I mean, I guess I did have a little something this asked though for real, because I know we was reading that 1906 doc Henry, that dude name, hold on, like Henry White, but it also because that was like because he got like Spain and France and Great Britain, and then but it was blank Morocco. I know you had mentioned that. You said you had mentioned that prior, but if you could elaborate on that a little bit. I know they got a kingdom and whatnot, but if you could elaborate on that a little bit more, because it was blank.
Okay. You want me to elaborate on who or what?
No, it was this same document. This document, the document 1906, and it was just had the different sections, like for France, for Great Britain, for Spain.
Oh.
It had like 2 or 3 different names.
The signature.
You had said it was blank.
Yeah. Okay.
Excuse me. Yeah, sitting there because I was looking at these names. These names, dude, De Niro, Rio, something. But yeah, but it's like a little elaborate on that because Spain was like blank. I mean, because I know they got a kingdom.
Oh no, Spain was in blank. Let's go back to it. So you got Germany, Joseph Radowitz and Taidenbach. Hungary, you got Welser Scheib or whoever, Balesta, whoever. Belgium, Justins, and I can't read that. Spain, you see a guy, El Duque, Del Rio, and J. Perez Caballero. Then the United States, you got Henry White, Samuel Gumry. You got Great Britain, or France, Reval and Ragnault. Great Britain, you got Nicholson, A. Nicholson. Italy, you got Visconti, Venosta. Morocco is who's blank. And then Netherlands is Testa. Portugal.
Yeah, that was my question. Like why was it? Oh, so it's not blank. Okay.
No, it's not blank. No, ain't nobody else. Let me go back up. Nobody else is blank. Sweden is Robert Sager. Russia is Cassini, and Conde Tovar for Portugal. The only one that's for Morocco, you see how it's blank?
Yeah.
Okay, it's Morocco. The Sultan didn't sign it, or the Moxen. This is where the additional protocols come in, where it says additional protocol here.
All right.
On the point of signing the General Act of the Conference of Algeciras the delegates of Germany, America, France, Great Britain, Italy, the Netherlands, Portugal, Russia, and Sweden, taking into account the declaration of the delegates of Morocco that they were not, for the present, in position to fix their signature thereto, by they being unable, owing to the distance, to receive an early reply from His Sharifian Majesty concerning the points in regard to which they deemed it their duty to refer to him, reciprocally engaged by virtue of their respective full powers to unite their efforts towards the ratification of the said General Act in its entirety by His Sharifian Majesty, because he didn't ratify it, and towards the simultaneous enforcement of the reforms therein provided with, which are interdependent. They therefore agree to charge His Excellency Mr. Malsuni, Minister of Italy to Morocco, and Dean of the Diplomatic Corps at Tangier, to take the necessary steps to that end by calling the attention of His Majesty the Sultan to the great advantages that his empire would derive from the stipulations adopted. Look at what he said. The great advantages that his empire would derive from the stipulations adopted at the conference by the unanimous actions of the signatory powers. The great advantages. So let's remove his empire, or like His Majesty, right? The great advantages of the Moors. The great advantages of the several Moroccan states, right? So our advantages would derive from the stipulations adopted at the conference by the unanimous actions of the signatory powers, which includes who? The United States of America and all the rest of these colonies. Unanimously. Then it goes on to say, the adhesion, which we know what that is, given by His Sharifian Majesty to the General Act of the Conference of Algeciras, shall be communicated through the government of His Catholic Majesty to the governments of the other signatory powers. So the Pope, which is His Catholic Majesty, is the middleman between the Sultan and all the other signatory powers. That's why it says right there. That's why it says that His Majesty to the the adhesion given by the Sharifian Majesty to the General Act of the Conference about shall be communicated through the government of His Catholic Majesty to the government of the other signatories. Delegates of Morocco had affixed their signatures vacation by His Sharifian Majesty, whereof the delegates of Germany, Austria, Hungary, Belgium, Spain, the United States of America, France, Great Britain, Italy, the Netherlands, Portugal, Russia, and Sweden have signed the present additional protocols and affixed their seals thereto. And there goes the other signature page. So that's the second signature page. Germany signed again. Austria signed again. Belgium signed again. Spain signed again. United States signed again. France, Great Britain, Italy signed again. Morocco, still no signature. And then you go on, Netherlands signed again. Portugal, Russia, Sweden, they all signed again. The Sultan still didn't sign, and it's in full force because the Sultan told the Pope, man, if they sign it, if everybody signed, we good. My word is my bond. You know, put some respect on my name, make that thing go full force. That's the power of the Sultan. With his decree, he was able to do that. There's no more Sultan. Who's left? The Moroccan states. That means what? We are the successors, which means what? We have that same exact power and authority over all these colonies. I hope I answered your question. I went far with it.
Yeah, that was cool. That was great. Islam. That was great. That was great.
Islam.
I definitely overlooked that.
Islam. It's all good. We all do. That's what we're here for. Iron sharpens iron. With that said, that'll be the last comment or question. We'll reconvene again on Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. We'll be going over integrity of domains. We'll be talking about the operations of your state. So I look forward to seeing you all on that particular call, Sunday at 7:30 Eastern p.m. time frame. And I look forward to seeing you all there. Peace, love, and light to everyone. And may the blessings of Allah be upon you all. Islam.
Islam.
Islam. Islam, Moors. Islam. Islam Moroccans. Peace and love.
Love to everyone.